Today we're going to do the prototyping and app workshop, and there's two tools that I use generally, which is Adobe XD. It comes with Creative Cloud and all the other products, and I like it because it's simple. If you just want to get it done quick, easy, and you have access to this, I would recommend this. If you're building something that's going to take much more, it has to be very accurate, and it's almost like building the actual thing, like to the details, I would recommend Proto.io. They are very savvy in this world. It's web-based, so they support video and, animated photos and like all that stuff, whereas XD does not. It's very static. Okay, so we got our center title or whatever, we got a hero image, and you can add whatever you want. Okay, so now we want to start going down, right? We want to build this whole page out.
Right.
So we're going to give us some room, and you can see it adds a dotted line. So that's the end of your screen, technically. So that's the fold, right? That's everything that above that line is what's going to show on the screen all at once. So let's add a menu to this. But for now, we'll just put the actual logo on there. And that's a quick Photoshop fix, right?
Yeah.
But we can do that.
So I'd imagine a lot of the graphics artwork would be done in different programs and imported into here.
Right, and that's the same process. Welcome, Tim. That's the same process with Proto, right? You're using Sketch, for example, and then you bring it into here to animate it. Right. Whereas this is, we're kind of doing it
I'm just here to get free
all
shit.
at once. So now I don't really like the space. Like, I feel like this image is taking up a lot of space and it's not doing much for the content. So I'm thinking, how can we make this a little bit more enticing? So I'm gonna kind of create a transparent-ish
Class.
thing around here so that it doesn't, take away from the design. So now let's say, okay, we want to add some buttons. We need some action steps here. So let's move this up a little bit, give it some room. To create like a little start basic, right? So now we got a order now button, experience to Aloha, the logo. Let's see how much space we got on this here. So now we can add like more buttons if we wanted, or start featuring some of the products already. What do you guys think?
I don't know if this would be too complex, but it'd be kind of cool if you had like the basic flavors, like cherry flavor, and then it would like scroll over to like blueberry, just so it cycles through people in the idea of.
Okay, so cool. Let's do our featured flavors or something, right?
Yeah.
Nice. That's a good idea. So this feature is pretty cool. It's called the repeat grid, and so whatever you put in that grid, you can kind of like force it to repeat itself.
Right. So you'd have repeating images.
Right. Exactly. So if I just, let's say I'm like, all right, I just want to get this done really quick. There's going to be multiple.
Oh, cool.
Things, right?
What button was that?
It's this repeat grid feature. So you can ungroup the grid, or have it do that. Then you're like, I need more.
And it evenly distributes instantly.
Yeah, so it creates like a super easy way for you to do it. Like, let's say we want to do like an Instagram feed, right? Like that. It's like spider, put it in there and adjust the whole thing if you wanted. But yeah, so that's a really good feature to know.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we're going to want to do different flavors, so it's not going to be super useful for us at the moment.
Generally.
Yeah, just so you know it's there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And however size you want to do it. Like, let's say we're going to do a bunch of different images and we're just not sure what sizes they're going to be. You can kind of fake it, right? So I can put like space in between certain things. So if I wanted it to be specifically that height, right?
Oh, wow.
Now no one would know. But you just have to be aware that that's what's going to happen. So, okay, for example, right? We got blueberry and green apple here. So now let's make some similar to what's up here. I'm gonna grab that just to save myself some time.
Blueberry.
Oops. We want to make sure everything's concisely put together because it'll keep things centered correctly.
Does this file, can it be used at all to actually develop the app? Or
Unfortunately
it's
not.
entirely a design tool?
It's entirely design. Everything would be have to be created from code. If you're designing an app, however, for a game, like if it's game related and it's going to be built in an engine like Unity, for example, those assets that you create are generally going to be used in the actual app. So that's a different process. I wouldn't really use a prototyping software like this for that. I would use Photoshop and then maybe put it in. You could use Photoshop and then put it into a prototyping software, but make sure you have the full PSD files because that's what they're gonna need each individual. Like Unity would need the background of this, the text itself, and then in Unity you tell it, okay, this background does a function, you know. But like with web, you just tell CSS and HTML. You build this with code anyway, so they don't need that physical assets, you know. Besides the photos, obviously, but it just depends on what you're going to be using the app for, I think, or how it's going to be built, you know. So okay, so now we're gonna, because we've already built the menu, the logos in there, we have kind of a color scheme, and the text has been developed. It's easier to just copy this than to build a new, you know, and then drag everything over.
Right.
So I'm copying all this over, and then what's our next step? So what would the user click on here? And then if you want to see, like, okay, we got this long list of things. What does it look like on the phone, right? When you hit play, it'll show you kind of what it would look like. But so what's the next step? Order now?
Yeah. So on the order now, then you just want to bring up everything.
Small, medium, large.
Small, yeah.
Right.
Really boogie board, short board, or long board.
Let's build a little, move that for a second. Let's build a piece where you hit the menu and it comes out. I'm gonna go back to design mode. Here's our homepage. And you can see if I click anywhere, it's kind of like, doesn't do anything, so that's good because we didn't want that. If I click here, it shows the menu, and we gotta put the back button on that, but and if I click here, it goes here. So I think what we could do is be like single flavor,
Oh, and then
mixed flavor, right?
Yeah. So like that's like we want people to feel like they can have what they want, but we
Right.
also don't want to serve something gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we could put a warning, like, you know, like a
Warning.
pop-up that
we
says, you
recommend
added,
we recommend 3 flavors. You're welcome to have more, but use like at your own discretion.
yeah. All right, so select your flavor. We want to bring our screen all the way to what we got. And all right, so now they've got their flavors to select from. Let's move this stuff out of the way. Keep a nice tidy artboard. All right, so now let's go back to prototype mode. Let's say they select blueberry. Or we need them to go to the next screen, so I'm going to duplicate that. Blueberry goes here. Transition. Push left. Let's keep it consistent. Alright, so they've selected their flavor. So what happens when you click this, right? What do we want to, what indication are we going to give the user that the flavor has been selected? Maybe we say flavors. Select your flavors. Okay, so from there, they select blueberry, and then it shows blueberry selected. And then we also want to add Tori's little feature, where I think it will just add like a little tag up at the top. Like, or better idea is to do it like at the bottom. So what I would do is like, I'm looking at the bottom of the screen here, and I'm thinking about the apps that I've used before where they would have like something pop up at the bottom that says, you've selected.
Yeah,
Blah, blah,
or
blah.
would it stay with you as your scroll?
Yes, it'd be
page?
fixed,
Yeah.
right.
That's smart.
So we have, and that's really hard to do prototyping style. I'll show you how I would do that real quick. I definitely want it to be exactly as possible. So. And this one, we'd want it to be like it's sitting on top of things. So I'd add a shadow to it, negative aspect. You see how it looks like it's just kind of hard to see, but it's floating on top of everything. We can add more to that. Okay, so let's go to prototype mode. After they pick a size, we want them to go here, push left, that's good. Then once they hit blueberry, we want them to go here, push left, or actually no. We want it to dissolve because it's not shifting screens, it's just changing the screen. I'm gonna take the ease off. There, and let's just test it.
So we're just doing like a general open up everybody.
Cool. I think I want blueberry. Oh, that's
Oh,
so cool.
that's nice.
You see what I'm saying?
That's pretty
So it kind of gives the client, the company you're working for, whoever it is, an idea of how you want the app to look, feel. You know, it creates that mood. Create your little space. It's based in a browser, so it's going to be a little bit different than what we're used to. And they give you like a little tutorial video if you want to see it. That you can watch that real quick.
Remind me later.
Hi, in this video, we'll be giving you a quick guided tour of Proto.
You can watch that.
Is
But-
this one more feature rich or?
Yes, it's web based, so you can add, like, let's say instead of just having a photo of the shave ice here, we want a video of you filling up that ice, right? And when we build the app, that's fine and that's easy, whatever. But we want to show because if I showed you a picture, it's less. You're not going to get the full experience as if I showed you a video or a demo that actually has the video playing in the background, you know? So this allows you to include video, animated images if, the video is too much. You can do, they have like built-in toolbars here, just like they used to have on, whatever, the creative, Adobe XD, sorry. But they've got all kinds of stuff. So like the back button, the actual icons per library. So if we want iOS, we want Windows 8, we're building an app for Windows or something, it's got all the UI elements in there. And then they've got the screen states, which is, how this looks right this second. And you can add different states to that current screen. So instead of saying like, okay, we're going to create a new screen for each one of the states, this one allows you to have one screen with different states in it. So it's there's a little bit more to it, and this is something that I would recommend after you know how to do this sort of thing. So, you've kind of worked with the animation process, or you know that you want certain menu items to do certain things. You realize you have to build each element. But then once you're like, okay, I'm ready for some realistic looking stuff that's going to be so close to the real thing that it's, you can't even discern. But, and then have different containers, or you build a container, that's right. So you build a container, which is basically where the screen stops. So if you want like a video to only take up like certain amount of space or whatever, you build the video in this container and then add the container to your screen. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then you have like patterns of scrolling, which is really helpful. They have like animations where it's just like that one, iOS home screen simulation. So what would it look like to open your app, right? From the home screen on your phone. They've got like a carousel that you can just swoop up real quick. It's already animated, kind of drag and drop. So, VR stuff, they must have just added this. That's really cool.
Nice.
Oh, interesting.
All kinds of different stuff. Pull to refresh, that's a huge one that's super common. They've got it built in ready for you to add to your streams. Add-ons that you can put in, Sketch, Dropbox, all of your assets can just be basically brought into here, and you can have, your library of stuff ready to go. Icons that they have ready, which is why I prefer Proto when you're actually building stuff, because with XD, you got to build those icons and then bring them in, If you pay for Proto, that's why you're paying. This is what you're paying for, you know what I'm saying? Is all of the work that's already been done for you. But Proto, for example, this is some of the cool stuff that you can do. See how that's fixed? It allows for fixed stuff, which Adobe doesn't support.
That would be nice.
So if we wanted to do that thing on this, right, it'd be a lot easier. Let's see, what can we click? Can we click this menu thing?
What?
It's
That's
a different language, but something. Yeah, it looks like it.
I was like, burgers.
Right.
Spaghetti.
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 Oh, they've got all kinds of stuff. But yeah, you can support like videos like this or at least it's an animated image or something that they're using there. But that's more of an effect than if you saw just that image, right, static on screen. So that's why I recommend this stuff. If you're really going to get into it, you might as well go with learn the most robust platform, and then you can do it all. For example, if you're working with a company who the presentation materials matter the most, like, they're looking to get funding, and so they just want a demo to show what this can do, right? What can all these features, these cool things do together, right? And this is much cheaper to have a designer or whoever, develop a prototype that looks like what it could be, is like, oh, that's really cool, here's some money or something, whatever.
Yeah, that way you can take it to the client and they can change what they want. So
Yes, exactly. That's another
That way you don't
reason.
have to build the entire thing.
And there's less risk of the developer screwing up because it's a great design.
Exactly.
For the developer to
Yeah,
follow.
Yeah, that's a good point. So like a lot of people use this for like A/B testing and stuff. Like, okay, what interface works better? What they'll do like a test where they have like 10 people use this prototype and track the clicks or whatever, or watch them click it, and then they give them the prototype B, and it's like, okay, that menu, the hamburger menu, doesn't work as well on the left corner than it does the right corner, or whatever it may be. The button needs to be bigger or the images can't take up so much space, or things need to be more accessible. Whatever it is, it does create a better process as far as development. You just cut out a lot of the shit you had to deal with before with people not being able to, it's like, oh, why did you put that feature in like that? It wasn't supposed to work like that. That's not how I designed it, right? And it's like, well, the prototype, that's exactly what it says. So
Right,
so
okay.
it removes that factor. But